Super kick to Jacob. And one for Tama.
If you come at the king, you best not miss.
Ladies and gentlemen, the winner of this contest, and new.
Acknowledge us.
Hey, guys, we're here at the Red Carpet Reign. We're going to talk about what was the case with Smackdown. We'll go over what went wrong with the recent episode of Friday Night Smackdown, and we're talking about Smackdown that was for the episode of January 10th. So let's talk about it. CeeLo Myers, salute to you. We're going to go over the issues that what went wrong with Smackdown, of course, as well, what went right with Smackdown too. So let's talk about it. You guys, of course, do that simple task I always have you guys do when you come into the ring.
Not real.
Trust me.
But that doesn't do anything, man.
All right, let's get into it, guys. Let's do it. And let's talk about it. Let's talk about what went wrong with Smackdown. We're going to get to that in a second. We'll see what the issues were. And then, this is the first episode of Smackdown that happened after, of course, the whole Tiffany Stratton cashing in the Money in the Bank contract. We know that was the case too. So we're going to definitely talk about it. But give me a moment. We're going to get that ready. But yeah, with this Smackdown here, guys, this is the Smackdown. Remember, we just had the Raw on Netflix as well, so we got to keep that in mind as too. They're probably still high on expectations for what to expect for this recent episode of Smackdown. That could be another case as well. That happens too, but it doesn't mean that it stops WWE from putting out a good show. But the expectation was still high. Now, some people they felt the way about the Raw Netflix debut. Some people liked it. Some people, as we know, didn't. And with that being said, when that happens, and sometimes things go right in the right direction, sometimes it doesn't. But other than that, though, that's just how it goes. As far as the show goes, it could be have to live up to big expectations, or it doesn't. And we're still on the 3-hour mark of SmackDown. We're still on that 3-hour mark, so we got to keep that in mind too of what else is going on. But it's just I don't know. SmackDown, I will say as a whole, To me, if you ask me, it was better than Raw, a little bit better than Raw because it was no super high expectations. And since it wasn't super high expectations, that's what caused it to be good. We had it was some good moments in there. Some things should have went the way it did, but it did. But Raw was it was too many high expectations. It was too much to expect from that particular show. Some people may not want to admit that, but I would say that was the case in some points. So we have to keep that in mind too of why it went down the way it did, because it does happen like that of why the show went the way it did. But the 3 hour with SmackDown is, if you haven't heard already, it's temporary. I don't know will be good long term because they said back in June that that's when SmackDown will go back to 2 hours. I don't know if that's the good case long term. It may not be the whole thing, but we got to still give it an opportunity to see what's going to be best for business with WWE. So we got to keep that in mind as well. It could very well be the case or not the case. But we gonna see what's gonna happen with that. We'll definitely see what cause SmackDown to be good and not good. But I see a pattern where SmackDown sometimes is on and like on fire. Sometimes it's mellow or okay because we do still have the Saturday night main event coming up as well. So with that being said, it could be where WWE may not be living up to the expectations like we may think it will be. It may not. So we got to keep that in mind too, because that's coming up in the next couple of weeks. And we know that's going to be January 25th, literally a few weeks away. So the shows, it may be a quick build up to how these stories going to begin and how we're going to get these matches at Saturday Night Main Event. And this will be right before the Royal Rumble. So we got to keep that in mind too. They have to get some kind of story going for this event that's coming up in the next several weeks. We got to keep that in mind when it comes to this show. So we got Saturday Night Main Event coming up, but they still, I hope it should be better than last time, because the last Saturday Night Main Event was not that good. That was way overhyped. And I will say that Raw Netflix was better than that show as far as Saturday Night Main Event go. So hopefully they get that correct. Hopefully that's moving in the right direction. I really hope they don't fumble on that. But with that being said, we're gonna see how they're gonna play that out. But I'm not having too big expectations due to the last one in December. I really hope they step it up this time. I really hope they do. They do, it'll be a fine thing. It'll be fine when they do that. But if they get like last time, it's gonna be a problem. And then I'm not gonna have no faith in this show no more. As far as Saturday Night Main Event go, I will start looking at this show sideways. And that's not just me just babbling about the truth. I'm literally gonna feel like Hulk Hogan.
No, brother, doesn't work for me right now.
That's how I'm feeling when it comes to that show. If they produce the same way they produced back in December's show, so let's hope for the best. Let's cross our fingers when it comes to this show. And it's real close to Royal Rumble. It may not be all that good. Maybe hype again. So let's keep that in mind as well. It may turn out to be hype. Because our WWE, they want to sell a show. And this show, now I know it's not in New York this time, it's in San Antonio this time. So we'll see how it goes. But I am not holding my breath when it comes to this whole show. I'm not. So hopefully they step it up, they get it right, they get it in a good direction. I really hope they do get in a good direction. But we're going to see what the whole case may be as far as that go. And get that in the right direction with SmackDown and Raw when they sign up for this particular show. So I really hope that something's built. We get fair title defenses at this Saturday Night Main Event. and all that stuff as far as that go. But like I said, it could be a wrong move. It could be a right move too. Could be a right move as far as that goes. So we gonna see how they're gonna build that up. And if they do, it'll be no problem. If not, so like I said, this show already gonna know what it is. It's gonna all come down to star power, hype, namesake, just all hype and just trying to sell tickets. The other one not only don't work for me, I want to know come out sign that main event. It's come down to open who told me it was open mic night.
Who the hell told you tonight was open mic night, bitch?
So we gotta see how they're gonna build that up when it comes to that show. They do, if it's right, it won't be a problem. With that being said, I want to talk to more about it. Let's get to what went wrong with SmackDown. We had Michin versus Chelsea Green. Pretty much same old sad song, let's be honest. Michin looks, she gets an advantage on Chelsea Green. Chelsea Green used Piper as her shield and do whatever she can to get over on that. But other than that, same old sad song. Piper interferes, distract Michin. Michin, gets hit on her. And then it comes down to Chelsea getting the advantage. She had a roll up. Long story short, Chelsea Green retains the Women's United States Championship. Is this a shocker? Really not. So, pretty much that's how it goes down when it comes to that. And Chelsea Green with that title until someone really beats her, pretty much has the Hulk Hogan attitude.
No, brother, doesn't work for me right now,
So that's how that goes. No surprise there, no shocker there at all. None. So other than that, though, that was the end of that match. Let's see what else happened on SmackDown. All right, we had the tag team match. Los Garzas versus Pretty Deadly. And this whole thing started with Pretty Deadly accusing Los Garzas of attacking Street Profits last week. As we know, they are still out storyline wise. But other than that, though, that's how that's going. This match here, another match I was not really a big fan of. I wasn't really big on this match, to be honest. And I said this before on this channel. I am not a fan of the Pretty Deadly tag team. The characters are cringe. They're not really great in the ring competitively. I'm not sold on these guys. And I said that even when they was in NXT. I remember they held the NXT tag team belts before losing it to the New Day. I'm not sold on these guys, and I'm still not. And I don't see where this is going with them. Now, I like Los Garzas. I like Garza and Humberto. But this match really went nowhere. Long story short, Los Garza defeated Pretty Deadly, as I assumed. But nothing much to talk about here. Nothing much to talk about at all. I'm not sold on this. No. So, I understand Pretty Deadly got to get some screen time as a tag team, but they're not really doing nothing to help the show. I guess they could be an enhancement tag team for the SmackDown brand. Well, let's move on to the next match. I really don't want to talk about this match no more. All right, we got the second United States title match. Something more interesting to talk about. Shinsuke Nakamura versus LA Knight. Yeah, but this match here, LA Knight got a good early advantage in this match. He definitely was giving it to Shinsuke. Now, Shinsuke being the crafty heel that he is, and we know that. Shinsuke made some comebacks. They got good chemistry, I will say that. and it shows Shinsuke Nakamura. We know he's good in the ring, but it shows how good he is as a heel. Because I think as a baby face or a tweener, he wasn't really there. But I think with this dark character with the face paint and everything, that spin mist all the time. This is a very good, different type of character for Shinsuke Nakamura. He can show his versatility as a character in the ring. Long story short, before this match really got into motion, we saw the new Bloodline get kicked out by Nick Aldis. LA Knight assisted them in doing that, and we knew that the Bloodline was going to come back for LA Knight. And that's exactly what they did during the matchup. Tama Tonga and Jacob Fatu interfered. They attacked LA Knight, and it ended in disqualification. And LA Knight, since he did get attacked, he did win the match via disqualification. But you know, the title cannot change hands on a disqualification unless it's a stipulation otherwise. But other than that, though, it kept LA Knight looking good, and it kept Shinsuke looking good. So it was a good, solid match. I like this match. This match I actually like. Let's move on to the next part of the show. And of course, Shinsuke is still the United States champion. That is, you know, of course, inevitable when it comes down to in the DQ for that purpose. Let's move on to the next match, though. Next match we had tonight, MCMG versus A-Town Down Under. Now, this match was set up by Nick Aldis because everybody wants an opportunity for the WWE Tag Team belts. We saw backstage A-Town Down Under, MCMG, we saw Pretty Deadly, and Los Garza. Los Garza and Pretty Deadly already had their matchup, but now it comes down to A-Town Down Under and MCMG. Now, because they're both former WWE Tag Team champions. Now, with that being said, this was a slow match at first, but it picked up. Definitely good. Alex Shelley and Chris Sabin, they're very fast paced. They were very good. And they work with pretty much any other tag team. Grayson Waller and Theory were good as their heel tag team. But I like this match. It was solid too. MCMG definitely putting the work. A-Town Under tried some conniving, sneaky stuff. It didn't work out. At the end of the day, MCMG scored the pinfall with the Skull and Bones tag team finisher, and I think they pinned Austin Theory that took the pin. But I like that they're very good. MCMG with the hot tag sequence, everything. But I do like Grayson Waller and Austin Theory together, even though they still was teasing a split. But yes, the winners are these tag team here, and they're going to go on and face, if I'm not mistaken, since MCMG won, they will get an opportunity at the tag team. It's going to be a number one contendership belt match. It's going to be a number one contendership. I think they're going to face DIY next, MCMG. But we'll see what happens here, though. We'll see what happens next with this show here. Now, with that being said, we had another match. We had a four-way match, guys. Now, this was announced middle during the match. We know here that it came down to four women here. It came down to, I want to say, well, we had, if we asked the Tiffany Stratton had her celebration first. Let's mention that first. Now, like I said before, I thought Tiffany was going to get her, a brand new customized belt for winning that match, but she didn't. But other than that, she came out, talked about winning the belt. Now, of course, when she did that, we knew that Nia Jax was going to be disappointed. We knew that. We knew Nia Jax came out. She responded to Tiffany, say you're ungrateful and all that, saying that she was upset with her And you know that Tiffany mentioned as well that she outsmarted Nia Jax. So we knew that was coming, and we knew that she was going to come for her and cash in that contract, which she did successfully. So that was no shocker there. We knew that was going to happen. And since she did do that, um, this is when we got all competitors come out, and we're talking about Bailey first came out. You know, she came out and talked about how she felt that she should get an opportunity at the belt. We saw that happen. We also saw how um, how that was going to go down. Other than that, though, Naomi came out as well, and like I said, and I want to say this too for the record, they had good claims of why they came out. They had good claims why they came out for this belt. And Tiffany, the crowd was really behind her. It really was behind her. They felt like she deserved it. She didn't get the "you deserve it." Now, she seemed like Tiffany was going to be a baby face, but it seemed like she's still in the heel form because she still said how she outsmarted Nia. But for the most part, we know that Nia is still the heel, but they're gonna make her a baby face though. So that's just one thing I want to notate right there. And like I said, we knew that was coming. So when Tiffany did come out with that with the belt, they all came out to claim why they should be challenging Tiffany for her title. We knew that was going to happen. Now, however, it came down to Naomi, it came down to Bailey and Nia. They all was out. So since they did, we also knew that they all want to fight for the belt. Now they all ended up attacking each other. This is when the artist said, "We're going to make this a four-way match. It'll be a four-way match. It will be Naomi versus Bianca versus Nia versus Bailey. Whoever wins will get an opportunity to face Tiffany Stratton the following week on SmackDown for her brand new WWE Championship." So we knew that was going to happen. So with that being said, it started with celebration to a number one contendership match. It came to this here. So this match, it pretty much was everyone ganging up on Nia at one point. Let's be honest here. And since it did, we knew that it was going to come down to that it was going to be these four women battling it out. Now, that what was interesting is at some point we knew that Naomi and Bianca was going to be at odds at one point. We knew that was going to happen, but I actually had my money on Nia or Bailey to win. That's what I had my money on. So when it did come down to that, it came down to that because we knew Naomi and Bianca was not going to win. At one point in the match, that was turning point. While Bianca, she was in the group. Bianca was in the group too. And there was a lot of the other thing about this match, there was a lot of breakup pinfalls. Like Bianca would get a pinfall, it's broken up by Bailey. Bailey get a pinfall broken up by Naomi. Naomi tried to get a pinfall, Bianca breaks that up. And they all tried to pin Nia Jax at one point. I felt like I know they was trying to tell the story, but this whole match was rushed. It was all rushed. But with that being said, a turning point in the matchup came here. It felt like Bianca, it seemed like she was trying to get in the groove in the matchup. That's what it seemed like there. And the thing about it is, Chancellor Ray showed up and she tried to cost the match, but um, long story short, she held to Bianca's braid while she had a KOD of I think Nia or Bailey, whoever it was, and she accidentally hit Naomi with the braid. And Naomi was down. Bianca saw that. Bianca was pulled out. Now after Bianca was pulled out of ring by Chancellor Ray by her feet, Bailey hit the rose plant on Naomi and or Nia, whoever it was. I think it was Naomi. Yeah, Bailey hit the rose plant. She pinned Naomi, and the winner of the match and the new number one contender is Bailey. Bailey's going to go on to face Tiffany Stratton next week on SmackDown for the WWE Women's Championship. That's how it's going down. That's official, as Adam Pearce would say. That's going to go on next week. So we got that match going on, and that's what's going down. So with that being said, this was not a surprise here. It wasn't a big shocker when it came down to this. It came down to that Bailey's the winner, and now we're going to get a match next week. In the match next week, like I said before, it will be a one-on-one match. It'll be Tiffany Stratton first title defense as the Women's Champion, and yes, she will go on and face Bailey. That will be the case there. So that's going to happen next week on SmackDown. So now we got one more match, the main event actually. We got the match that was announced also in the middle of the evening. Now this match here, it was Jimmy Uso and Cody Rhodes and taken by Tua Tamatanga. So I think the first thing Jimmy teamed up with Cody. But Jimmy so used to team up with Bravo and Mark Bloodline. But anyway, they had a match, main event the show. Tamatanga and Jimmy Fatu, they was getting early advantage. They got Jimmy Uso, was double teaming him. Jimmy was down for a minute, and he eventually got the hot tag to Cody. Cody has good moves there, but Cody Rhodes, the whole thing while he was in groove, KO would show up, and him and Cody Rhodes fought to the back, and they got to the back to the point that it was Cody. It took Cody out the match. We knew that was going to happen. It was crazy though how that went down. Definitely why.
Right through the table.
So that was crazy. With that being said, since Cody was taken out the match by KO, it allowed the new bloodline to get an advantage, which they did. But it ended up being Jacob Fatu Tamatanga. They got Cody Rhodes and Jimmy Uso, and they got the win. But definitely good story. And it was a good win for the bloodline. As you know, we know that they've been losing. They lost with the War Games, Solo losing against Roman Raw. So this was good. They needed to win. So good for bloodline. With that being said, that was the end of SmackDown as far as that goes. With that being said, we're going to go ahead and get to review. But let's see what you guys have to say about the show so far. All right, Samoa Production, salute to you. Thanks for coming out. Mr. Red Reaction, salute to you for coming out. Scott Murray said Drew shouldn't have lost the match against Jay. Why not, Scott? I mean, Drew has been defeating he been defeating Jay. He defeated Sammy. He had to take an L somewhere, and then make a team storyline with Jay. I think it was a good call because if Jay had had lost to Drew, it was so predictable. Smallwood said Drew should have came back and dominated his opponent. No, yeah, I think he will do that. Karrion Kross deserves a push. He does, but that's Smallwood does. They're not going that direction with him. They got him in this useless stable that he's in, unfortunately, and I don't see it going nowhere for that matter. But it sucks though. I do believe he should get some more. Definitely more, considering he was a former NXT champion. I think he should get more play as far as that goes. But that seemed like that's not the direction that they're going with that. So yeah, it stinks. But that's just how it goes. So go figure. But yeah, it's not going nowhere. I don't see nothing happen with that. With that being said, let's talk about SmackDown. This SmackDown was all right. Give me 1 second, guys. Thing about it is, this show, it had some good moments. We had Tiffany had a brand new celebration for a title. We also had two United States master titles being defended. Not bad either. But it was a lot of useless stuff that happened on this episode of SmackDown, and I'm gonna get into that too, very very shortly. When we do discuss what went right, what went wrong with SmackDown. We'll get to that real soon. But some stuff just could have been left alone, for my opinion. I don't see some stuff just what could have. It just didn't make no sense to me. So with that being said, to come down to it, guys, my rating for the show was a 3.5 out of 5. I thought the show was okay. It was average. Some stuff I was getting tired. Like the main event started off good, but once we knew KO, had interfered, we knew where that match was going. Also, when it comes down to it as well, a lot of stuff was just useless. It didn't make no sense. And some stuff just flat out annoying. I'm just going to notate that. But that's how I see it. But we'll get into it, though, in a second. But I don't know, guys. Some stuff just I didn't agree with some of the stuff that they did on the show. Some stuff I just did not agree with. For whatever reason, I didn't agree with it. But other than that, we're gonna get into it. Let's talk about. We're gonna talk about what went right and what went wrong with SmackDown in a quick second. Now, before we do get into it, also, if you guys haven't already, you know that I have a poll about this show. Always have a poll of what's going on. But we gonna definitely talk about it. But other than that, let's discuss it. Now, one thing I do want to discuss as well, there's a poll out there that I do have, and I normally do have a poll. So let's talk about it right now. All right, the poll, if you guys want to check it out, I know we have a voting process on here, and it lets you know what people think about SmackDown. So let's get into that right now. And then we'll talk about the next week matches on SmackDown as well. Other than that, though, let's dive in on that. All right, let's see what people had to say about the show. This is what people had to say about the show for SmackDown. All right, we had 64% people give it an A. We had 23% give it a B. We had 8% give it a C. And we also had 6% give it a D or F. So people were very, some people got some quite mixed feelings about the show and how it went down. So we'll talk about that as well. Let's discuss that in a second, actually. Well, you also always go on my community tab, and you can always vote on there on Red Carpet Rain. Always talk about what's your opinion, how you felt about the show, and and let people know how you felt about everything. Well, let's get into it. We're gonna go and let's talk about next week's matches. Let's talk about them first. Now, next week's matches here. These are the matches that's going on for next week. We do have the WWE Women's Championship. Bayley versus challenge Tiffany Stratton for the title. We have Solo Sikoa will return. And I mentioned it before with MCMG. They're going to fight Lois Garza since they won a match. Whoever wins that would be number one contender for the WWE Tag Team Championship. So I just want to get into that. So that's what they have advertised. Other than that, let's get So the issue I saw with SmackDown, and I'm getting tired of it. The whole Michin versus Chelsea Green, they're getting repetitive in the same old sad song. We see this a lot. We see this all the time. Well, other than that, the reason I say that because it's the same old sad song because every match, every story, it's always Michin can beat Chelsea, and we know she can beat Chelsea. She beat her in a dumpster match, and then Chelsea becomes the Women's United States champion, and Piper Niven always interferes. And every time Chelsea and Michin fight for his title, we get the same old sad song. It ends up being Chelsea retaining and still keeping her title. And we see this all the time. with that being said, you already know how I feel about that when it comes down to that. You guys already know how that goes, and it's just something that puts this straight on the list.
What's gonna happen? No. Words? You just made the list.
So yeah, this definitely on the list. I don't like this at all. It's terrible. I don't get it, but I understand they gotta do what they gotta do. But this whole feud is just getting boring. It's getting tired, and it's not really doing anything for anybody. It's really not. You guys can, you guys can, you guys can feel any other way about it, but this really don't help this whole thing unless Michin is gonna, about to win the Women's United States belt. That's the only way it makes sense. That's the way I see it. But it really don't do anything unless it does do something in the long run. So that's how I see that whole thing. But it's horrible, And Chelsea on defense belt against Michin, can she defend against other people? So let's talk about that too. Like, can you defend against anybody else? Anybody else besides that? But that's how I see it. But that's neither here nor there. But that gotta go. That is just not doing nothing for me. It don't work out. Not the best favor. It don't work out. Other than that, though, that's how I see that. But other than that, though, it's just horrible. But that's one thing. But one thing I did see wrong with this current episode of Smackdown. Now, with that being said, since I'm done with that, let's discuss other things that happened on the show that I did not like, that I had an issue with. And we're going to discuss that right now. Another thing, I talked about these people too. Let's talk about them again. Let's talk about it again. This whole DIY Pretty Deadly Alliance, it's not working. It's not doing nothing. Clearly, it's clear that Pretty Deadly is being used by DIY. They use them to tell lies, and they're supposed to get Pretty Deadly title shot, and they clearly have no intention of doing that. They just want to use them to gain advantage. Use them to lie about the street profits they attacked. That line's not working. And Pretty Deadly's starting to see it, but unless it's such a big feud, this is pretty much. And I don't see Pretty Deadly beating them for the belts. Not DIY. It's not working. It's cringe. No cringe story. And Apollo Crews as well. It seems like he just comes in there to be a messenger. Apollo Crews ain't nothing but a messenger. He was tag teaming with Baron Corbin before Baron Corbin was released by WWE. But at this point, he's nothing but a messenger. Hey, so-and-so attacked this team. Hey, so-and-so's lying about this attack. It was really this team. It's like, this whole thing is cringe. And as when I see stuff cringe when they go in that direction.
What's gonna happen? No. Words? You just made the list.
Yeah, so this is it made the list. I don't like where this is going. It's not doing nothing for either. Pretty Deadly's not being helped out, and Paulo's not being helped out. It don't do nothing. It's horrible. So that was another issue I saw on here. It's just like, really, come on. I mean, Apollo Crews, I said about Apollo a while back. I said they don't find nothing steady for him to do. If nothing happens, he's going to eventually get released, just like Baron Corbin got released. Because there's no storyline for Apollo Crews. He's literally hanging on for dear life. There's nothing major for him going on right now. Let's be honest. And I like Apollo Crews, great competitor, but there's nothing going on for him. He's not doing nothing big, and it's unfortunate. It really is. It's unfortunate, but there's no other story for this man. Now you could do something with him, but they're clearly not. You know, there's no room for him on the roster, and it sucks because he's one of the veteran guys, but this is not going nowhere for him. It's not. It's not. Nothing's going good for that. Nothing's good happening. So I just want to notate that. But yeah, that's clearly a problem I've been seeing Paul Cruz for quite some time now, I might add. And not just now, not just in weeks, but for a good year. He was on NXT. They brought him back to the main roster, and it's like he's a messenger boy at this point. I don't like it. So all this Free Deadly and Paul Cruz, it's not going anywhere at all. But that's the issue I saw on SmackDown. Let's get to another issue. All right. I think Bianca Belair in the four-way match for No One Contender made no sense. Now, the reason I say that because I get why Nia wants to face Tiffany. She had an alliance with Tiffany. She was screwed over. She was the previous champion. I get that with her. Bayley, I understand. Bayley lost the belt at SummerSlam because Nia, helped Tiffany. She had a rematch already, but Tiffany was always a distraction. Pretty much how Piper is helping Chelsea kept the belt. That's what Tiffany was doing for Nia. So I get Bayley and Naomi. I even understand. She challenged Nia Jax for the women's title last week, and Tiffany did hit Naomi in the hit her with the briefcase to cause Nia to retain before Tiffany cashed in. But Bianca Belair, I don't understand why using this match. It's easy could have been a triple threat between Nia, Naomi, Bayley for No One Contention for Tiffany's title. Bianca made no sense. She's a tag team competitor. She's nowhere near in the women's title picture. She has no story to get in there. She's holding the tag team belt already. The only one that is holding the tag team belt that was instead of being the women's title picture was Naomi, because she fought for the belt last week. But Bianca made no sense. And you know what happens when I see stuff like that.
What's gonna happen? No. Words? You just made the list.
So that's something I just did not like with this whole thing. I didn't like it at all. It's terrible. I didn't like this at all. Made no sense. So she could have been kept out of it. You didn't need 4 women to compete. And then that match went left too. Let's talk about that too. That match was not really all that good. And that's the next thing I'm going to talk about as well. But some matches weren't all that great. And this match was one of them. All this, the breakup pin over and over and over. And it seemed like it was a 4-way match. It was a 3-on-1. All they did was gang up on Nia Jax. I didn't like that. Like, it's every woman for herself. And it didn't get like that really until near the middle in the match where, okay, we all got to fight for each other. Naomi, Bianca, it seemed like they was teasing that. Then Bayley was fighting, against Naomi and Bianca. But at first, the very beginning, it was all about trying to gang up on Nia. I get that she's the biggest woman in the match, but Nia has more claim to getting a rematch more than any of the women in the match. But I get it, though. That's what they got to run with. But it really wasn't all that great match. The story was kind of messed up. So I didn't see that. That wasn't good. I thought that was crazy. Let's be honest. This match, Chelsea, Michin, that wasn't the best match either. I don't think that was the best match on the card. They could have went somewhere else with that. We're getting tired of how that match is going down. So that was too much. But it was just some matches I was like, this match was okay. United States title match. Some matches were good, but some matches just could have been better. It just could have been better. Bloodline was good. It was okay, but some matches I thought could have been a lot better. And then the whole Pretty Deadly, when they fought, their match wasn't great against Los Garzas. I wasn't too big on that match either. I was a big fan of that matchup as well. It just all their matches are not. They have not been doing nothing of value. If that makes any sense. It wasn't. So I wasn't a big fan on that match. I thought that match was mediocre. And like I said, I like Los Garcias, but they really couldn't save that match. They really couldn't save that matchup as far as that go. Really didn't do nothing for that matter. But they did the best they could. But I was not a fan of this match as well. This was another match that was besides Chelsea Michin. This match didn't really do nothing. Really didn't do nothing at all. So that's why I gave the show the rating I did, because some matches could have been a little bit better, or some matches was just thrown together. This was an average match, Michin, and then the four-way women's challenge for the match. So no, I didn't see that. But you guys know how when I see stuff like that happen.
No. Words? You just made the list.
So no, I didn't like this match either. But it was getting annoying at some points during the match. It really was. But other than that, though, that's what I saw with what went wrong with SmackDown. Now, we'll go over what went right with SmackDown. We'll shift over before we get to current news and bonus round. We'll talk about what went right, because some things did go right with the show. Some things did work out in the favor of the show. But we're gonna see where that's gonna go, and how that's gonna work. But we're gonna get into that right now. Definitely get into that. But let's get into that right now. Now, one thing that did go right, Tiffany Stratton versus Bayley will be a great first title defense for Tiffany Stratton. I've noticed that they always use Bayley to help for a first title defense, or first or putting a tournament like they did for the Women's United States Tournament. I see they always do that. That's how that goes. But other than that, this is going to be great for Tiffany. I know Bayley's going to put her over. I highly doubt that Bayley's going to defeat Tiffany for the title, since she just won it and put in the work. I don't see that happening, but you never know. But Bayley's always been used as the veteran to put in for that match. She's always been used for that. So I'm not surprised at all of how that's going. But I can't wait to see what else is going to happen next. Next week on SmackDown. Definitely a very good thing of how they're going to do this whole thing between Tiffany versus Bayley. Hopefully there's no outside interference. Hopefully there's no distractions or anything of that matter. But I would like to see how this is going to go, for that matter. But other than that, this was a good thing that happened on the show. This is a good number 10. Like I said, I knew it would come down to either Bayley or Nia Jax to win. I guess they're saving Nia Jax later on because of their story and their history. That's how they're gonna do that. But I can't wait to see how they're gonna do this here. Definitely gonna be interesting how it's gonna play out. Of how they're gonna do the whole thing. So other than that, though, that's how I saw it. And with that being said, I give props on that. So very good call. That was a good decision by WWE to have have Bayley challenge Tiffany for that belt. That was a good first time defense for that. So that worked out well. But let's get to another part of what went right with SmackDown. What was another good call that they made? Another good thing that was made, I may be foreshadowing it, or maybe just a a little hiccup. The next thing I'm going to talk about is Naomi and Bianca. Will they have tension in their future? Could this be affecting? Because remember, Bianca, like I said, she took the braid while she was shredded by Candice. She accidentally hit Naomi during the match. And as you see, Trinity, she did put in the X, this hurt. Could this be a future feud between the women? Could they, potentially lose the women's tag team championships? And could they also have a matchup against one another? Could it be a matchup of Bianca versus Naomi? Could that be the case here? You never know. You never know what's going to happen next. But other than that, though, I do see this being a good call for WWE if they're going to do that. But we're going to see what happens. And I think it's a good call by WWE. This is a good call. This is a good reaction. Nia's at the Rumble. Yes, she'll be the Women's Royal Rumble. Just like the Chiefs. Yep, definitely right. But that was a good thing I saw. That was good with SmackDown. Another thing I want to mention. One more thing that went right with SmackDown. I got to address this too. Shinsuke Nakamura still looks strong as the United States champion. And I like that they're defending that United States champion a little bit more. The women's, I would like to be defended besides Michin fighting for it. But yes, I would like the women's to be defended more, just not against the same person. But as far as the men's United States title, I like that Shinsuke still looking strong. He does not look weak, whether match in a disqualification, no contest, whatever. This is probably the strongest I've seen Shinsuke Nakamura since he's back to his NXT days when he's the NXT champion. But this is a good move doing this for Shinsuke Nakamura. I do like how this is going with him. This is a good call. So this is very, very good. And I like what WWE, how they're using him. This is a very good way to use Shinsuke. Because Shinsuke was not being, let's be honest, he was not being used right to his full potential like he should have been before. So I like how this is going. But I definitely see where this is going. But other than that, though, this is a good call for WWE. I hope they keep it up. But let's talk about it. Shinsuke, if he has a good lengthy title run, he could be a very good wrestler in the mid-card scene. And I don't mean he's going to get the world title or WWE title, but definitely good in the mid-card scene. So I got to give him his props on that one. Well deserved. Very good. Yeet. So I hope they keep building Shinsuke in this manner. With that being said, let's talk about current news in WWE. Let's talk about it. Now, I saw this online. I don't know if this is true or someone made this up. Regardless of that, I'm going to talk about it anyway. And I want you guys to let me know what you think of this scenario. And what I'm talking about necessarily, I'm talking about a potential WrestleMania 41 card. Potential. And I'm talking about this card here. According to this card, I saw this online, it was on X. It said Night 1, Roman Reigns versus Jacob Fatu. Night 1, Bianca Belair versus Nikki Bella. You know, Nikki Bella, they trying to work her to come back. Whatever. Sami Zayn versus Kevin Owens. Lyra Valkyria versus Asuka, women's IC title match. And I do have Lyra Valkyria, of course, being the one to win that inaugural women's Intercontinental title. Andrade versus Carmelo Hayes, U.S. title match. Naomi versus Jade Cargill. Now, if that's the case, if this is official, that means Naomi has something to do with Jade Cargill getting attacked after all. Just saying. The Usos versus Solo Sikoa and Tama Tonga. That's not a bad card either. It's not a bad match. Chelsea Green versus Piper Niven, women's U.S. title match. I can see that happening. I could definitely see that going on. That could go down. Charlotte Flair versus Tiffany Stratton, women's title match for the WWE Women's Championship. Again, we all talked about that. Most people online, the fans have talked about that. That's another inevitable match that's going to go down. Now, with that being said, that's night one. Let's talk about night two. Night two, we see Cody Rhodes versus Randy Orton for the WWE Championship match. I don't know why they still call this thing Universal Championship. They didn't get that Universal title out of there. It's ridiculous. But other than that, that's definitely a match we see happening. Now, they got here Seth Rollins versus CM Punk last man standing match. Now, they said at the Raw Netflix debut, because they had that match, that was supposed to replace the WrestleMania 41 Rumor match. So I may not see that happening. That match can happen, maybe not at WrestleMania. Then they had Braun Breaker versus Ilya Dragunov for IC title match. Hey, possibility. Ilya is supposed to come back. He got hurt, last spring? And it was supposed to be 9 months. So he got hurt, I think, May, June? If it's 9 months, that's what? He's supposed to be coming back actually in the next month or so. So he will definitely be back for WrestleMania. Becky Lynch versus Liv Morgan. That makes sense because Liv Morgan, with Dominic, helped cost her WWE Women's Championship, which Liv won from Becky. And then say women's tag team title ladder match. Again, I see that happening. MCMG versus DIY versus Street Profits versus Pretty Deadly men's tag team title match. That's a good card. That's a good match. Then we got Rhea Ripley versus Io Sky women's world title match. That means Io Sky is going to win the women's Royal Rumble. And it's like Gunther versus John Cena world title match. That means John Cena going to win the men's Royal Rumble. Look at this card. Whether it is official, fake, leaked, whatever, a mockery, someone made this up, whatever, this could be reality for us, man. 41 card. I'm just saying it could be one. Let's not sleep on that for 1 second. There could be a possibility. I can definitely see that happening. I can definitely see that being the case here. Let's not forget about that. This card, you guys let me know what you think of this WrestleMania 41 potential match card. Because it could be reality. It could very well be. I can see that happening. It don't look like a bad card at all. It doesn't. It looks like it'd be a good setup for WrestleMania 41. It could very well be, guys. You guys let me know what you think. Now, with that being said, we are done with the first half. We gonna get to the bonus round, final round of the show. We done everything that we talked about. Of course, Smackdown. Talked about that. We Smackdown Tiffany Stratton celebration. Both U.S. titles defended. We went over what went wrong and what went right with Smackdown. And we really just talked about the WrestleMania 41 match league card. All right, guys. That's mostly of what went wrong with SmackDown. We talked about, had our good moments, had our bad moments, talked about what we could be corrected with the show, what could have made it better. We had a couple times where we had some yeet moments in there. Yeet. we also had no yeet moments.
And no yeet.
All right, but other than that, though, that's all I have regarding what was the case with SmackDown. We talked about SmackDown for January 10th. You guys let me know what you think of the show. You guys check out the content here. Greatly appreciate it. And let's get ready for Monday Night Raw, the second episode of Netflix of Raw this upcoming Monday. Till then, guys, you already know what it is. It's OUT.
Like I say this a lot, we're not a sport, we're a movie about a sport, or a TV show about a sport, right? So the interest of all the other...
I feel like the heel turn did wonders for me. There was a sense of reality in that, to where I had hit a point, and the babyface stuff was going great. The Alpha Academy stuff was going great. We had a blast with that. But I'm a realist, and I'm also like a long-term thinker.